right? Good morning again, afternoon or evening. Well, I'm doing this again. Here we are. Welcome again to this podcast. We are podcast episode number
2.
Well done. Well done. You started yesterday. We are happy with that. And welcome again to this podcast. So, no, we have Samuele again. Boo. We have Silvia again. Boo. Maybe. And then we have Claudia.
Special guest.
Claudia is here. So welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Claudia.
Thank you for having me.
So, no problem. We're going to do a quick introduction just for Claudia. Because
I was a bit scared.
Yeah, but you should introduce yourself. Like,
no, I mean, just watch episode number 1. And the first 20 minutes is literally going to be who we are and what we do.
The link
first
will be there
25
somewhere,
minutes of episode 1.
Actually, we didn't plan that one, but it happened. Quick introduction about today's podcast. So it's going to be how music shapes cultures and what's the impact of music on our mental health. I know that there were some comments in the last few days. Someone believed that could be a great thing to bring for a dissertation at university.
it is. Like,
Or a PhD.
It's a title for your dissertation,
But a
definitely.
PhD, who knows? Maybe we're gonna do it. But we have Claudia today. That's the main part, I guess, of today's. We don't have the button.
I mean, no pressure. You
we
know,
got you.
I was already excited. I was already also terrified, to be honest.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Claudia, as you can see, we just have
That's it.
fun.
I haven't even asked before starting this podcast if there's anything in terms of limits that we cannot say. But
I think there are some limits.
Yeah.
You
Don't-
can say bad words, I guess. Don't swear.
See, that's the
Don't
one.
Don't swear
forget.
to God. I mean,
No,
you can swear
no.
to me. Don't swear to God. That's fine.
I wasn't even thinking about swearing to anyone, but
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
it's good.
It goes on YouTube. So.
It goes on
I mean, last time.
And then on Spotify.
And then I suppose.
Spotify.
And maybe other platforms. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
podcast.
don't want them to censor you, Marco. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I
I'll
mean, he has
behave
my
today.
name on it.
Today I'll behave. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Claudia, tell us a little bit more about you.
Tell you a little bit about. I mean, you guys don't know me.
No,
anyway, so.
but,
Well,
but the
we do,
audience
but the audience
does.
doesn't.
I know. Yeah. So I'm Claudia.
Ciao, Claudia.
Ciao. I have been working with all 3 of you.
You?
Yeah.
I know that we can say where we worked.
I mean, we
watch
did.
the first
I
episode.
said it last time.
Yeah, we were like, let's not say, Sylvia, we work together at
By the
Microsoft.
way.
Yes.
I love.
Yeah, so we actually met in 2019. At least I met Silvia and Marco in 2019 when we both joined the same company. I met Sam a little bit later. I think we met-
2021.
Yeah, pretty much. Good times. And
Whoa,
yeah, I mean,
good time.
I mean-
good times.
To meet you, good times, but
Yes.
general.
No, I mean it was 2021 wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
You know, it was still a decent year. Yeah, so we work together. I'm still passionate about technology, as you all know.
Nice.
I am currently kind of like starting a path in my life that I never thought I would be on. And I'm excited to see where it's going to take me. Let's start with this. Let's start with this. Never thought that I have a entrepreneurial spirit, I guess. But, you know, life has a weird way to shape you. I will say this. If you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone.
Thank you.
If you're,
Wow.
if you're
Wait.
Yeah. You got the sound as well.
Or
yeah.
even the clap, you know, like people clapping.
Yeah.
Audience clapping.
No, but it's
Absolutely.
No, it's true. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been comfortable for quite some time, to be honest. I've been in London for nearly 15 years now.
Wow.
I don't know where the time went, if you ask me.
Wow.
But yeah, I worked a couple of jobs, different ones, different industries and stuff. And then I'm still sort of like settling in the technology sector. It's something that I'm passionate about, something that I love doing. I love helping people, training people. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, which was the thing that we had in common when we were all together.
Yes,
So it's something that we
100%.
really enjoyed it to
100%.
do. But
We
yeah,
did. We did.
yeah.
But, okay, let's go with the first one, right? So
I think we should
can-
ask her another question. Sorry. You might disagree.
I was about to go with one
Ask her.
question to her, but let's go.
No, you go. It might be the same. I'll ask it later.
Let's go.
And to be honest, I'm not asking the questions here. So anyway,
No, go ahead.
I wanted to, because we asked each other last week, last time, this question, what role music play? What role does music play in your life?
Oh my God. I wouldn't even know how to describe it. At least I can't describe it in simple words. For me personally, I cannot imagine a world without music.
Amen.
I cannot imagine a world without music. And that is to say that I go from...
You mean Marco's music?
Oh, Marco's music as well.
Yep.
Marco, honestly.
Marquito's music.
Sorry, I didn't want to...
Marquito's music.
I don't know
as well,
any
yes.
Marco. I know Marquitos.
I will support you all the way.
Music.Markito.
Music.Markito. But yeah, whether if it's gonna be, like simple sounds, I do like stuff like, the sound of the rain and like I like the sound of like waves. That's also music to my ears. And if I was to settle to what music did to me in the most difficult moments in my life, I probably wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
At least not in this.
Yeah.
At least not in this good vibe that I'm in right now. Yeah. So it helps a lot. I would say it helps a lot.
That's literally something we'll be covering on the second part of today's podcast.
Lovely.
But like with the first one,
Yeah.
because the first part is more about topic number one, is about how music shapes cultures. But the main question is, and I'm going to ask this one to Claudia actually, I'll ask to you. Do you think, is music shaping cultures, or do you think it's music reflecting cultures?
If I was to think, if I was to resume myself to what I know about my culture.
Tell us a little bit where are you from?
Yeah, so originally I'm from Romania. We have a very typical music scene, very shaped by folklore, like folk music. At least that's where it started. And obviously in time, we evolved a lot more genres and stuff. I will say it... So tell me the question again, if it shapes the culture or if the culture shapes the music.
Yeah,
I think...
What happened?
that's all right.
I think
It was planned.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. I think it's a little bit of both. So I can't say, based on what I know from my country, that it could be just one or the other. Because we've got certain traditions that go with certain music, and then we've got so many groups of individuals in our country, and they also created different types of genres and stuff. So I think it's a little bit of give and take. Yeah, it gives and takes. So the people give to the culture, and then the culture gives you something back in return.
Okay,
That's how I see it.
I agree. How about you, Silvia?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's different in Italy. And to be honest, from this point of view, I think Italy is very divided. Like, it's divided. Our country is divided from different perspectives, right? I think music is one of them. And I think it's because of the culture.
Yeah.
If I think about folkloristic music in my region, it's going back to the Middle Age. So medieval music, but it's not played anymore, right? You don't have the instruments, you don't have the... it's very detached from the current culture. Same in the north. I know that there's just revivals when there's like folkloristic kind of events. You would see that. If you go to the south, my mom is from the south. I went to a wedding. It's all about, obviously you have the contemporary music, current music, but you also have, at the end of the night, everyone is dancing barefoot, in a circle.
Yeah.
And so it's still alive and it's part of the culture. Still wedding, same thing. I mean, it's an event, right? But I'm pretty sure when they have in a summer night, when they have like a dinner with a long table outdoors, sooner or later there's going to be someone with a guitar or like instruments and playing folkloristic music. So I think it's both. Culture shapes the music, events shape the music, historical events as well, but even vice versa, music as well. Coming from outside, like if you think about the South, it's also is influenced by the North Africa, for instance, right? So you have a lot of these sounds coming from us. So is music influencing the culture? So yeah, both.
100%.
Sam, do you agree with that?
I think that it's the culture and what we're living in that historical moment that shapes the music.
So you think it's a little bit more the way around?
I think it's more that
One
music,
way, actually.
Okay.
the music is telling us what's going on in that specific moment in time.
Oh.
And we have multiple examples about this. And we can go back in time in the 70s. The 70s are very well known, like mid-60s, end of the 60s, and beginning of the 70s. There was so many protests around the world, and the youth started to protest against the establishment, against wars, and against the supremacy, the white supremacy, and all these sort of protests all around the world. And we started to see this in music. So what was the way to kind of rebel to what you're trying to impose to us? It's music. So how are we going to do it? We're going to do it with punk. Punk music in the 70s started to like find the fertile ground and to become popular. So because they were trying to break up the scheme, you could see also in the style. So punk people completely like were protesting in that way, and that was the wave in the 70s. Same times with the hip hop as well. Starting in the 70s and 80s, they were telling us how people, like Afro-American people, were living in certain areas. And that was their way to protest against, like, that's what's happening here, and you should know about it. So music is some sort of like news on TV, but it's just like a beat and words on it. So it's telling us a story, what we're living in.
Absolutely.
And then we come to the 80s, and then because the three of us are Italians, and if you think about it, like, the most famous Italian songs are from the 80s.
Yeah.
Now, what happened in the 80s in Italy is we were living the bella vita, la dolce vita. We were living these beautiful days.
I guess that's the moment where we're going to get more likes and comments. Only the Dolce Vita, everyone.
Yes.
It's everywhere on Instagram as well, and TikTok, like the Dolce Vita, all these lovely areas, the ass out.
Like Capri
And
on
the
Naples,
Vespa,
like
Cinque
the Vespa.
Terre.
Yes, you know, and that was what we were living in the 80s. So that's why in Italy, we kind of never had that sort of protest or any sort.
Sorry, otherwise we get the comments. Dolce Vita is more from the 50s. Because,
Well, but
by the way,
yes,
no,
okay.
it's a bella vita.
La bella vita. Sorry, I
no,
made it
just for the
confusing.
comments.
Oh, yes, well done. But La Bella Vita, okay? So, and in the 80s, like, everyone knows about Domenico Modugno or Volare or, you know, Mina, Adriano Celentano, all these people. You can hear in the music.
Yeah.
You can hear it. It's completely different feeling of, yes, happiness, but at the same time, you know, in the 80s, we also had our troubles in Italy in the 70s. But if you compare the time, all around the globe, everyone had issues in their own country, and that impacted the music, impact the cinema, impact the movies, and everything all
the
around
art
us.
industry, right?
So when you listen something on your radio or from your streaming services, that's what you are listening. What is going on around us?
But now I've got something, right? Because that totally makes sense, and I love the fact that we all have a kind of different perspective on this. Really similar, but there is something different there. And I think there is one thing in common, which is a message behind it, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter if it's culture or the people shaping it, doesn't really matter. The main thing in between is the music is sending a message that is actually shared between cultures and people, right? One thing that I've seen, for example, is that many countries were actually and are even now copying music from different countries, right? I know in Romania many people were redoing Italian music, but with Romanian, language
I've seen
or lyrics.
one about Iceland as well.
Exactly.
I don't know if you saw that video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
So that's one thing that happened and is still happening. But I guess, thinking of you, Claudia, for example, when you were a kid, you used to listen to music, right? And now we're talking about music is changing cultures in a way, or is shaping cultures. Do you think music has changed or shaped you in who you are today?
Probably,
The type of music
yeah,
you were
probably,
listening.
yeah, because I had evolution where in like certain ages in my life, I was listening to completely different genres. So, for example, right now, I'm no longer listening to maybe the type of music that I was listening when I was 15 years old, you know. A lot has changed since then. And it does have to do with the fact that the generation has changed. As Sam gave a really nice historical background, you know, of like 50s, 60s, and so on. I fell in love with commercial music at first. I know it sounds really lame, but the reason why I fell in love with commercial music is because for an amount of very good years, that started to be the most promoted music.
Yep.
On TV and stuff, you would see the same videos played over and over again. Every hour, they would repeat themselves. On the radio, the same. You would hear the same music and like here, I'm strictly referring to my country. The same artists were promoted, and you know, maybe at the start when you start small and people don't know you anymore, it's really hard to promote yourself and to put yourself out there. So only the big artists used to get always pushed higher and higher and higher. After I was done with listening to commercial music, in that time in my life, it was passing the vibe check for me.
Okay.
I was young. I wanted to, you know, I was starting to fall in love. All the songs that I was listening to, they were all reflecting that emotional state that I was in. Like all of them.
Yeah.
They were all about, you know, loving someone, hurting, and all this stuff. Fast forward, as I passed my 20s, I started to discover the influence from the States. Hip-hop music, R&B music started to enter the scene. You will see more and more of those kind of videos on the TV. And like you said, I started to listen to the message that was behind it. I was starting to understand English more because everything was in English. And I also, back then, I started to date a guy that was really in love with Tupac. So that is how I discovered Tupac's music. And I was listening a lot to his songs. I know maybe I might not look like,
it's
but
all right.
yeah. But I was listening a lot of his music, and really passionate about it. And again, as I went through relationships and stuff, and my emotional state changed, so did the music that I was listening to. It is absolutely crazy. But if you ask me right now, for every single person that marked my life in a way, there is a song that I can associate with.
Yeah.
In the moment that if you play that song, I will tell you exactly where I was in that moment in my life.
Yeah.
Exactly where I was, what I was feeling.
And that's because as human beings we are trying to find someone that we can relate to. We're trying
Or
to
something.
we're trying to kind of find someone that is feeling what we're feeling right now. So we are looking for that, not soulmate, but someone that we can relate to.
Yeah,
And that's when
compatibility of some kind.
and that's why sometimes, and that's how music is changing with us as well, because based on what we're living, where we are with our life, that's music changing as well, because we can find someone that, oh my gosh, he's going through, or she's going through, or they're going through what I am going through. So I can connect with this
I'm
person.
not alone, right? And I guess it's like when you create music, one thing that you also want to create is a community, right? And I guess that's the main goal at the end of the day. You want people to kind of get together and have share the same feelings, right?
Yeah.
And let them know, hey, you're not alone. We are all in this together. That's why I'm creating it from more a producer point of view, right? Silvia, what do you think about it? Like, do you think music has changed you? Do you think listen to that specific kind of music for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, has it made you different?
Definitely, it affected me. But I think, like, talking about that community, being part of a community, I think when you said, oh, it's lame because it's commercial, actually, the majority of my life, which is the time that I've been in Italy, I would say, I listen to commercial music, and if I was thinking about it while you were talking, and it's probably because I wanted to feel part of something. So it's not the other way around. So it's not that I have a mood, so I want to find a song that represents that mood. It's more like everyone is listening to this, so I want to be part of this. Because I've always been like very lonely as a kid because my parents wouldn't let me go out much. We were listening to a lot of radio, like music on the radio, because my parents had a cafe. So the radio was on all day long. And at the weekend, if we were going for a family trip, the radio was on, or the cassettes. I remember my dad's cassettes, right, with Mina and Celentano. But yeah, the majority, like for me, music was more like, it's when I came here that I started to see that there's different kind of musics. I've always followed like all the trends of the time. When I was a kid, it was Backstreet Boys and Blue, and then there was a moment that tribal house music was a big thing in my city, and actually my city is one of the biggest clubs. Like they were coming from all around Italy and Europe as well sometimes, right? So because there was like this techno house environment, and when I got a little bit older, it was more towards, there was a big trend of reggae music and dancehall in my city, but like it was mad. You were going to dance with like no makeup, like ponytail and tracksuit, like you know, this step up kind of mood, like exactly like that.
Exactly.
You didn't care about looking pretty, or you just wanted to have fun, and that was the trend of the moment. So I've always followed the majority of the people in my city and the big trends in my city. And I've never, although I had access to internet and YouTube, I was not exploring other trends. It's when I came here that I actually started to see I'm still quite commercial, I think, in terms of like what I like. But I think if I was back home now, I know in my city at least, reggaeton is a big thing. Like you just listen to reggaeton all day long. I would, like, when I go back, I get tired because I feel like, hello, there's other, you know,
there's
a genre that we can play.
And this is like, maybe reggaeton was a big thing here 5 years ago, and now they're a bit behind, I think, and there's nothing else. You want to go out, there's just reggaeton music or Italian commercial or trap Italian music, right? Which I don't like. So yeah, it definitely shaped me, but I feel like kind of in a cage because maybe if I had the possibility to, if I was in a bigger city or I had other kind of friends or there was more variety, probably I wouldn't necessarily listen to what I listened to in the past.
Yeah.
Then there is also the other phase of this topic here, that it's when you are, for example, a musician or an artist or a singer or a producer or a DJ, then you kind of have two personality. You switch between the two, the kind of artist and like the person that you are. Because, you know, as a producer and guitarist, me personally, then I guess like anyone out there that is a producer or singer can relate maybe to this as well, that you need the music for when you are into your human being clothes. And then you need to get the music for when you are the artist or the guitarist of the producer. So then you can switch in between the two personas, and you can find that sometimes you kind of like, I'm listening literally to everything.
Exactly.
And I cannot definitely say which genre completely changed me as a person or as a musician, because that's the things with genres then out there. So they kind of mix all them. And like, you know, so like cultures, they start to mix and blend together, and a new genre comes born. So same things happens with when you are a producer or a singer or any sort of artist. So then you're going to create your own style that comes from the influence of all the single things that you.
For example, like DJ Snake, he became super famous because he brought house music with Indian music.
Oh,
it was a big thing there.
DJ Snake, yeah.
DJ Snake,
right.
and he literally created something new. What he did, they brought what it was really heavy in the US mainly, you know, back in the early 2000s, I think, and what it was really heavy in India, mixed them together, boom, a new thing came out.
New things happening.
So I guess that's the way how it went. But you've all mentioned one thing in terms of music and changing us a little bit. But do you think music can also change our vibe? Do you think based on the music I listen to, I'll behave in a different way? So let's say right now I'm walking out in the street.
Yes.
This actually, there is actually a big thing there. Like, for example, I've heard so many people saying, and I agree on this, right? If you listen to piano music, that will relax you. But if you listen to trap music, it will make you more hyped.
Hyped, aggressive.
Exactly. Do you agree on this? Do you think, like, if you listen to some specific kind of music, you are more, it will be easier for you to do something based on what you're listening to?
Easy example, right? Gym time. You cannot,
listen to opera music.
Okay, sorry,
Pavarotti
I
in the
don't.
gym,
Not in a bad way, but
Be careful of what you say.
I think that because I really believe in the rhythm when you actually that's the reason why you have music when you do classes or when there's some weirdos that are listening to classic music while they're doing a HIIT workout. For me, they're weirdos because for me it doesn't really match your heart. Is your heartbeat is going up and you're trying and it's not matching the music that you listen to. That's why when you go to techno events and like the beat is really high, you can correct me with that. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I'm not technical at all.
Go with the flow.
But you need to take drugs. Like a lot of people, you don't have to. You don't need to take drugs. But
let's say you don't have to.
I'm
drugs.
against it. But you feel the need, or a lot of people feel the need to take drugs to.
Yeah, enhance
amplify the feeling.
Like, let's look at
Because
numbers. Have you ever seen people, high in a classical concert on a piano and Ludovico Einaudi's concert?
Maybe.
God knows.
But
Maybe there's some people that take.
Maybe, but there will be literally one case,
I mean, it depends
right?
because there's drugs that hype you up. There's some other
Yeah.
Okay. If we think about weed, right,
depends.
which is in between.
Yeah,
some
of course,
people think there isn't drugs, some people don't. I'm not going to argue that.
It's the two types. There's sativa and the indica. I can't remember which one makes you more chill and then the other one hypes you up. But then, like you said, you need to be in the right place with the right
Correct.
stuff.
Exactly.
If you get MDMA and you go to a reggae event,
You might have a
know.
good time.
You might still, you might see Bob Marley in front of you, but it's not, And going back to let's go back because the drugs is another
leave
big
that,
topic.
Yeah.
We might gonna do another
the
podcast
gym.
on that.
No. It actually very interesting
It's cool. It's a cool
about
thing.
music and drugs because there are a lot of things that we can cover.
Think about the 70s, right, or 60s.
Yeah, like psychedelic music and all
Even
this sort of.
folkloristic music and like in South America and Central America,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of
It's a nice
references.
topic. Just take a note because
That's all right. We're gonna
Are you gonna
rewatch the
remember?
recording.
But going back to the gym, yes, like I'm I would not be able. I know exactly what I'm gonna play when I'm going to the gym. I tried different albums. I have some albums that are literally called chill. Because it's the albums that I can sing a bit, or I'm doing like my cleaning things at home.
Yeah.
I can't listen to this at the gym because it's just too chilled, and
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of. I'm struggling. I'm sweating. So yes, I think it definitely changed the mood. In the same way you're sad, and you might want to listen to a sad music that represents your feelings,
exactly.
right? Or vice versa. You need something that just to shake your ass in the flat to hype you up or make you feel happier. So,
But
yes.
I think but you want to add something.
Yeah, no. I just want to continue this topic because it's about like the chemicals that are released in our brain. So there are like 3 key neurotransmitters. I don't know if that's a word, but yes. Anyway, I guess someone correct me, but it's dopamine,
Yes.
Yep.
serotonin, and
Yes.
oxytocin.
Yes.
So these 3 chemicals are released in our brain when it is stimulated by sound. So, and the dopamine is the one that can give you that feeling of like kind of a reward, kind of like you feel like, oh yes, this is good. And then you got the serotonin side of things that it's the mood. So serotonin regulates our mood. So these chemicals are released every time we hear sounds. And that's like when you said at the beginning, I like sound of the rain, of the ocean, of the waves, because it releases these chemicals in our brains. So somehow, I'm not saying that we are high, but that's what
that's the
our
effect,
brain,
right?
that's the effect that we get.
Naturally high.
Exactly. So these are like things that happen when we see our favorite person, or when we eat our favorite food, or when we see like a nice landscape. So all these chemicals are released in our brain, and we feel that, like, we feel the power, we feel in peace. And it's all like chemicals in our brains that it's completely natural. So yes, definitely when we listen to music or sounds, that's what happened to our brain.
Yeah. But do you think, based on this one, then, because now I'm going to get to the second topic of today's podcast, do you think that based on the music you're going to listen and, you know, all the kind of explanation you gave to us with serotonin and so on, do you think music can help with mental health?
Yeah, absolutely, because that is going to release that. It depends what you listen. It releases a certain amount of these three important chemicals in our brains. So it is used for any sort of therapy. I'm going to bring an example here as well of certain services that we use in like, for example, I don't know if I can mention names of softwares or companies.
You can, yeah.
Like, I don't know if you ever use Viva Insight.
Yeah.
In Viva Insight, you have like the space services connected to, so that you can have like some meditation time. They have a playlist with specific sounds that can help you to relax and go through your day. So, and if it's in a services like that, there is a scientific study behind.
Absolutely.
So definitely music is helping you in go through things in your life, and that's the way we discussed earlier as well. So like for some of us, like music played an important role in our life, literally. Like if we are here, it's because of that. So music, it's something used to also sometimes for the pain, if you feel pain. So
I experienced that myself. It's amazing. I was actually supporting my auntie back home. She was very sick. She had cancer. And one afternoon, we were just in the bedroom, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to do this with me?" And because she was in pain, and they suggested to listen to this music, and we did it together. It's like a meditation kind of music. It's crazy. Like I never felt like that at the beginning. I was like probably 13, 14 years old. So I was like, yeah, whatever, this is gonna be. Let me just be next to her because she feels good just because I'm there, right? Because I didn't know what to do. They had a very small flat, so she was like, okay. She was trying to get me involved in what she was doing, and we're just literally sitting like that. She was really sick, and she was so much in pain, and she was refusing sometimes to take all those drugs because they just like.
They make you feel, in some cases, they make you feel even worse.
Yeah, you're like stoned all day, right? So she was trying to find alternatives to that. It's amazing. Like, even if you have, like, you forget about being in a body.
Exactly.
I know that that's how meditation works, right? Like, a lot of people do it on a daily basis or weekly basis or frequently. That was amazing. And she didn't feel the pain. And she was at a very high stage, before she passed away. So imagine like and it was all through music. And I remember every minute or minute and a half, there was a voice kind of reminding you to don't feel your feet or don't feel your, but it was all about the music and the way the music was flowing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's very powerful. It can be very powerful.
Yeah, it can also help to reduce like blood pressure or heart rate. It can help you to decrease that.
Yep. So
like relaxing music, relaxing sound has a impact in our body. So it can help you to reduce the stress, to reduce that. Once more, because that sort of music, the sound waves that hit our brain release a next amount of that serotonin or dopamine.
Yep.
So it depends the wave, the sound wave that our brain perceived. that's then the higher amount of serotonin or dopamine will be released. So if it's something else like maybe a rock music or EDM music, then there is going to be a different chemical with higher percentage, maybe higher dopamine and less serotonin. So that's why it depends the music that you're listening to. It can release more or less of these three key chemicals in our brains, either oxytocin, dopamine, or serotonin. So it's definitely like,
Can I ask you a question? Like, ask you all, right? I think it's related to this. Like, sometimes, there's a lot of, I'm thinking about when I was a teenager, right? I remember there were a lot of teenagers, and it was very popular, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of music that I'm not listening to that is kind of aggressive, but I'm not talking about verbally aggressive, like in terms of like sounds. And if I'm thinking about certain kind of rock music or metal or heavy, and a lot of young people especially, or like there's a massive audience of people that use that when they are struggling, right? And they get and I never understood why they would do that. Is it because
I guess that really is the magic of music. There is not a why. There is no specific reason.
That's
it's just what you feel, because your at least for me, your perception of music is different to mine.
Perfect.
Like for me, I don't know. I'll give you an example. I sleep without music.
Yeah.
Which is completely weird, I guess, right?
No,
like
I don't
many people listen to piano, something really soft, right? For me, if you give me a pair of headphones and a house music track, I fall asleep after 2 minutes.
I'm the same. I'm the same with a lot of the music, like techno. You can put techno music in my ears at any time of the day. I'm gonna do my things, right? I'm gonna fall asleep anyway. But yeah, I've always wondered what these can you say listeners or
listeners,
It's in my opinion, it's
does it make you I'm trying to imagine, does it make you forget about your life and you go in a completely different kind of world, which is what I do when I'm listening to certain kind of, like, okay, I'm feeling sad, I just want to listen to happy music. Is it because they're looking for the opposite of what their mood is? And get detached from their mood and their life, or the opposite? Maybe it makes it represents their mood. It's so messed up, right? For me, maybe it's represent. I never understood this. It's so far from me.
I think it's more about your character and the person you are. There are people that can find peace if they started to scream and run for thousands of meters and kilometers, and people that to find peace, they need to switch off everything and close their eyes, and that's the way. So it's all about how we express our feelings. Then so someone can find peace in listening to some Metallica or to some progressive music. They find peace because that's the way to express their emotions, by shouting. So you shout and you feel free. So, and I think from my humble opinion, that's the way. For me, if I have to find peace and calm, for example, I go to Pink Floyd. That's where I go to. One of my favorite albums is The Dark Side of the Moon and The Division Bells. So these two albums are my way to find refuge in music and from life. If I have to unplug, that's where I go to, because that's who I am. I know myself, and I think I'm a very calm and gentle and patient person. That's probably why I try to go there and express my feeling. Now, I'm not saying that other people's are aggressive. No. But that's their way to, release the stress from life. They need to shout. They need to hear that the music that can give them shooking them, and it's all about who we are. I think you can relate to specific music. That's why probably you can find a connection between how can you find peace listening to certain music.
But maybe you don't want to find peace. Do you know?
That's also
maybe they don't want to find peace. Maybe they want to keep being in their.
I guess that's a question
space,
for
right?
whoever is watching this podcast, right? If you've experienced this kind of phase, let's call it, or just let us know in the comment. Like, why do you listen to that kind of music to express yourself?
Yeah.
Right? Just let us know. Why not? I guess.
Yeah, no, actually, it's also a good point. Like, who said that we have to relax and listening to relaxing music to find peace?
When I'm upset, I don't
Maybe-
want to relax. I can tell you that. I want to tell you that.
No, but yeah, so that's also an
Yeah, I mean,
interesting
it depends how you-
things, and I don't know you guys, but the way you feel
I mean,
about that.
but I can say that what we are actually covering right now, it's something that I discovered a few days ago, but that both Harvard Health Publishing and the other one is, I had to write them down, National Library of Medicine, they both agree on music. It makes a big impact on our well-being, but also our moods. So it's used for different reasons and different treatments, but music is a big part of who we are and how we feel at the end of the day. And I've got actually a specific question for Claudia. If there is anything like any specific music that you would listen to when you're not feeling yourself, when you feel like there is something missing or you feel like you're sad, what's your reaction there? What kind of music will you listen to?
Well,
If there is a specific one, of course.
if I was to sit and think of the events that happened to me since, let's say for the past 2 years now, I've lost a couple of really great people, including my mom. I've also met really great people, and this goes back to what Silvia was asking about when you said, why would you listen to sad music? Because it will just amplify. Or I try to go the opposite way.
Okay.
So like if I'm sad, I try not to listen to sad music because it's just going to make me sadder. But then again, I'm also the type of person that does not want to sit and feel miserable on the inside. So I don't think I've ever been not social enough or not happy enough or whatever you name it. And the people that I've met recently, I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to give him the link to watch this YouTube. He knows who he is. But I've learned a lot from him. And that includes also be careful what you eat. And when I say be careful what you eat, I am thinking about, regular food, like what you put in your body, but also what you put up here in your mind. So listening to music is also a form of feeding yourself. When you read a book, that's also a form of feeding yourself.
Yeah.
And I saw a very nice video on Instagram. I'm sorry that I didn't save it. It was with a lady that reached out to 60. I think she was 60 or nearly 70 years old. She looked amazing. And the guy interviewing her asked her, how do you look so good at this age? Like, barely any wrinkles, barely any. And she said exactly this. She said, you have to be very careful what you feed yourself. Because if you feed yourself with, hate and anger and stuff that's maybe not so positive, then that will become a part of you. And on the outside, it's going to be there and people will see it.
Absolutely.
True.
So, yeah, I try to go in the opposite direction. I don't really have a specific... If I was to give you my music app right now, you'll see a whole lot of different types of genres.
Actually,
it's
very varied,
That's
right?
true.
Because
It's
you share it sometimes on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
listening to this.
Yeah, like she went for a concert of Emma Marrone, right?
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
Emma Marrone.
Yeah.
I went to The Weeknd. Now these two, I think they are kind of like
Completely
opposite.
different, yeah.
But even some R&B and very
Yep.
chilled kind of music. I don't
Yeah.
even know what genre that is
Yeah.
that you're posting sometimes. I'm like, like it makes sense. It kind of links to your personality,
Yeah.
honest. But yeah, it's very varied, right?
I've
As I
got
said, I'm
a
very
mix of,
commercial, so.
commercial stuff. I've got songs from Romania in my song. I've got Italian music in my phone as well. So, I don't know. It depends. Whatever tickles my pickle. As you say, that's what I'm going to listen to in the moment. But one thing that I will say for sure is no matter what I listen to, I want to be happy. When
Absolutely.
that song finishes or I listen to a couple of them and the day is done, I want to sleep peacefully. And
But
then
would you say that happiness comes from the message you will get? Like, you will say, I'm happy after listening to the song because a message has been sent to me.
100%, I think, yeah. I think so. And also, since we touched this subject, another great stuff that I learned the other day is about the fabrics that we wear.
Yeah,
There was
absolutely.
Did you see it?
Yep.
Did you see that video? There was talking about why you should never mix wool and linen together or something like that.
Which is a trend, by the way, now. So they're
because
wrong.
Apparently, the material also has a frequency. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Every single day I learn something else. So I'm just thinking, obviously music, that's sound, that's frequency.
Yeah.
So in order to match your frequency as a person, you will be looking for the same kind of vibe when it comes to music and everything else in your life. So
I guess the thing is, with music or frequencies, it's something that you don't see, right?
you don't see
So
it.
you have to experience them first, and then you
See if
get
it
something,
matches.
right?
Yeah.
Where visually it's different. Because now when we talk about feelings, I open my wardrobe. If I feel sad, I'm going to go maybe with something pretty dark. I don't know. If I feel really happy, I'll experience a little bit more with colors, right? With music, you cannot really do that. You need to listen to it first. And the same is with frequencies in general, which is kind of different. And I think this is what makes it so beautiful. You will have to experience it first, and then you will have your say.
Yeah.
But you can't do it vice versa.
It's like fitting the puzzle pieces.
Absolutely.
And when it comes about vibration here, so this is something that we study at university. So one thing that we should be aware, because you said like these materials has a frequency, right? So in general, the matter has a frequency. So right now, everything in this room and in the galaxy, it's vibrating, because matter is made of atoms, and these atoms are made with components and what is called electrons that are spinning around the atoms, and they moves. Matter constantly moves and vibrates. So this is science, 100%. So and here comes also some sort of connection with people. When you said, "I'm vibing with someone," it's because we are tuned to the same frequencies. Because our soul, our body, our mind are vibrating at the same level. We are on the same wave. That's physics. So vibrations and frequencies and are everything connected. And there is something that is called resonance frequency. So which is like the key frequencies on which every object and matter vibrates. So I don't know if you have experienced, like sometimes you hear, just to give you an example, you hear a very loud loudspeakers.
Yeah.
And then you hear these things vibrate and you start to hear that vibration. It's because that loudspeakers hit the resonance frequencies of that specific object in the house. That's why they vibrate. Or it's even more common when you see the singer with the glass and try to break it with the voice. That's because the singer hit the same resonance frequency, and then the glass answers back, amplifies that frequency, and then explodes. So everything vibrates in the universe.
Is it the physics of the matter? Is that the one?
Well,
I think it's the physics of Samuele.
No.
I know
That's
about
physics.
this. I would never explain it, not even like close to it.
This is physics.
But I heard about it.
Well, because
I know
at
about
university
it.
we study it. We study the theory of sound. We study physics, because sound, it is physics and mathematics. Nothing more, nothing less. So you can explain the phenomenon of frequencies.
I knew
in
about
that
this,
way.
but I would have never brought it up because I don't know how to explain
Yeah,
this.
so no, because she clicked that with the fact that the materials as a frequencies, and they're kind of like rejecting each other.
I was mind blown when I
And that's
saw
the
video.
thing, and it happens with people. So you can vibrate with that person. That's why we find our person, because we vibrate. Our body, our souls, our minds vibrates the same way, and that's why I'm vibing with that person. Or I'm having a good time because we are on the same wave and same frequencies.
And it's cool because it's a new term, right? If you think about it, vibing with someone.
Yeah.
It's kind of new. Like I don't know if it's in the dictionary, but
Maybe
younger generations use it.
Yeah, I'm vibing with
So
this
it's a new,
person.
it's a new concept. Like just, it's cool to think.
Which again, it goes back to cultures, right? New word, new cultures, and so on. All right, so my last bit is going to be about, because we talked about having these moments and, you know, listening to some music, but now we're going to switch to the other point of view of being a producer. Do you think, Sam, that's for you, that based on your mood, you will produce a different kind of genre or music, or based on that one?
Definitely. So, and I think that we have, not me personally as a producer, because, but, you know, so if you look back at people that produce music for big artists, you can see that that person produced like an R&B album, and then 5 years later produced like a hip hop album or like a rock album. Because we evolved, and, you know, so then we started to embrace something else. And that's why I told you earlier, like, as a person, sometimes you are one persona when you pick your music, and when you're a musician or producer, you pick another persona. So, and sometimes over time, you are switching persona. And sometimes you feel like producing EDM music, it comes easy to you. And then for some reason, it switched off.
Yeah.
Because now you are into something else.
But you can see the difference even when you're listening to some music. And that's really something that's difficult to explain. But if I open my Spotify and I start listening to music, it sounds okay. I love it. But then if I go into the studio, so my kind of, I'm into the producer kind of vibe, right? In that case, I'm going to start listening to the same song, but from a different perspective.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to hear the clap behind it, the frequency behind it, the volume effect that they've added, and so on. So my experience will be completely different. And I guess that's also something we experienced, Silvia, Sam, and myself, with when we produced this Broken Harmony. I created this track and all the, you know, instrumental part of it when I used to work for Microsoft, and I was made redundant. And literally the same day, I was so angry at the whole situation. And what I did, I went into the studio and I literally almost finished the whole track in just one day. And that's, I guess, the vibe that we wanted to bring
The motivation.
with that specific track, which is about, then Silvia sang on it, and Samuele looked after the mixing, mastering, and all the, you know, kind of engineering part. But it's all about, you know, like the feelings that sometimes you feel like you're in the right relationship. That can be with one person at work or your family. You feel like it's all okay, but then only when you come out from that specific situation, you're gonna really understand if it was the right thing for you or not. I think it's more about the toxic relationships and how you react to it. But yeah, and I think that there was just a little kind of comms I wanted to do. But I guess we've been talking for like 1 hour now. I don't know, is there anything else that you want to cover before we wrap up the Session Talk episode number 2?
Ooh, no, not really. I mean, like, we covered a lot. And
yeah, as always, we usually start with, we don't have an agenda, which is true.
Yeah, we have,
and then we talk for 1 hour.
Yeah, we just have topics like the one that you just suggested today with some questions, and then whatever it goes, it goes. So.
Because we vibe together. Silvia, anything else?
I was about to say this, you know?
No, that's true. I think because we work together.
We have the same frequency, otherwise we wouldn't be in this room right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Claudia, anything else that you want to add? Our double special
guest. I think
guest.
I just want to thank you for having me. I had a great time today recording with you guys. I was a complete podcast virgin. Now that's done. And that's it. You can cut this if you want.
No, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it.
This is going to be in the intro, actually.
Absolutely.
As a preview,
I think that's going to be a marketing thing we're going to use. Yeah. But look, we need to close for today. So thanks again to my lovely guest for coming to my Session Talk podcast, episode number 2 in this case.
Yep.
Thanks to all the people who are watching right now and who have watched the previous episode and this one. Hope to see you all again at some point. But until then, please stay safe and may the music be with you.
There it is.
Again. Goodbye. Ciao, ciao.